I was biking along a long, empty trail skirting the swamp, enjoying the peace until the silence suddenly felt unnatural, like the land itself was holding its breath. The sky glowed faintly orange as sunset faded, turning the watery marshes into dark mirrors that made my reflection tremble like it wanted to escape. The wind stopped all at once, leaving the air heavy and humid, clinging to my skin as a strange sense of dread tightened around my ribs. I slowed my bike, confused by the unnatural stillness, feeling as if some unseen presence was watching me from behind the tangled wall of reeds. Goosebumps crawled across my arms without warning, and the swamp smell shifted from earthy to something sour, like rotting meat left too long in the heat. When I heard the first faint splash from somewhere deep in the reeds, I instantly knew I wasn't alone on that trail anymore. Hook. Something was coming toward me. At first, I tried to ignore it, convincing myself it was just an animal, but the splashing was too steady, too deliberate, almost matching the rhythm of footsteps. My heart hammered as the sound grew louder, echoing through the marsh like something massive was wading closer with slow, purposeful movements. Every instinct screamed for me to keep pedaling, but my legs trembled so violently I could barely stay balanced on the bike. I forced myself to look toward the reeds, and the sudden violent shaking of the tall grass made panic explode inside my chest. Something big was parting the plants, moving with unnatural confidence, as if it already knew exactly where I was waiting on the trail. And then I heard a low, wet growl that immediately shattered the last bit of denial I had left. Whatever it was, it had locked onto me. Before I could react, a towering figure emerged from the reeds, its long dripping limbs hanging at impossible angles as it dragged itself onto the dry ground. Its skin looked bloated and gray, like it had been soaking in swamp water for months, yet its sunken eyes still burned with a sickening predatory hunger. My breath caught painfully in my throat as it raised its head, revealing a mouth stretched too wide, filled with teeth sharp enough to tear through bone. The creature leaned forward as if smelling me, its nostrils flaring with a wet clicking noise that sent chills deep into my spine. My hand shook uncontrollably on the handlebars, knowing that one wrong move would bring it sprinting toward me with those long, twisted limbs. But when it suddenly snapped its gaze directly into mine, I felt something inside me break completely. It had chosen me as its next meal. I bolted down the trail, pedaling harder than I ever had in my life as the creature's rapid, slapping footsteps thundered behind me. Tears blurred my vision, turning the path into streaks of shifting darkness, while my lungs screamed for air that refused to come fast enough. I could hear it gaining, its breath gurgling and wheezing like swamp water draining from a burst pipe right at my heels. Every push of the pedals felt like a desperate plea for survival, my muscles burning as terror surged through every nerve in my body. The creature let out a shrill, bubbling screech that echoed across the empty wetlands, shaking something primal and instinctive loose inside my chest. When I risked one glance back, I saw its long arm stretching toward my rear wheel. It was close enough to grab me. Just when I thought it would drag me straight into the swamp, the trail widened and a distant boat engine roared somewhere across the wetlands. The creature froze mid-chase, its body twitching unnaturally as the sound seemed to disturb it, like the noise struck a nerve buried deep in its flesh. It retreated slowly, step by twisted step, glaring at me with furious hunger before slipping back into the reeds as silently as it had appeared. I collapsed off the bike, shaking violently, struggling to breathe as the reality of what almost happened sank cold into my bones. Even now, when I close my eyes, I still hear that wet growl and those heavy footsteps slapping behind me on the trail. And every time I pass that swampy stretch, I swear the reeds shift as if something inside remembers me, and it's waiting for another chance.